She said if you needed to start with that or go with
So,
that.
you got too much meetings.
Which one?
Well, I think it absolutely is.
Good morning. Today is April. This year's moving very fast. This is April the 7th, 2021. It is 9 a.m. This is a regular meeting of Commissioners Court of Grimes County, Texas. We're at the Grimes County Annex at 114 West Buffington Avenue in Anderson, Texas. Some of you are joining us in public. Some of you are joining us online. Glad to have all of you here. I would ask if you would please stand for our invocation. We'll ask Gary Winston, if he will, to lead us in the invocation. Remain standing for the pledges to the U.S. and the Texas flags. Gary?
Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity to gather today for the benefits of the county people around us. Look after our judge and our commissioners, make them make the right decisions, guide them in the right decisions. Look after our first responders and our military personnel. It's in your Son, Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Be seated, please. Second item on our agenda are public comments. We ask that if you have public comments that you have already signed up for that, you'll be recognized. We'd ask that you hold your comments to 2 minutes or less if possible. The court will not respond to your comments or answer questions that you may have, but we appreciate all public comments. First, I have Patty Sexton, who is going to be speaking in regards to agenda item number 9, Proclamation April Child Abuse Recognition Prevention Month. Ms. Sexton?
Yes.
Can I get you to come to the podium, please?
Honorable County Judge Falk and Commissioners, my name is Patty Sexton, and I'm a representative of the Grimes County Child Welfare Board. And I address you today to request that April 2021 be proclaimed Child Abuse Recognition and Prevention Month in Grimes County. We thank the Commissioners for recognizing and responding to the needs of children in foster care. Needs that we, who are blessed to have a strong family support system, might take for granted. Due to the funding, the Department of Family Services simply cannot provide for some of those needs. It is only therefore through caring and generosity of the County Commissioners in providing a yearly allotment and through jury donations we're able to assist. We can all appreciate the fact that the state of Texas was never meant to be a parent. Unfortunately, for some children, the state must serve as their protector from abuse until such time as their parents can make life-changing behaviors needed to be reunited with their children. DFPS works diligently to reunite if possible. In some cases, the behaviors don't change and parents' rights must be terminated. The most favorable outcomes for these children are being placed with relatives or adoption. Sadly, there are times when the best solutions are not viable and children find themselves in long-term foster care through no fault of their own. This happens often with teens. They will soon be adults learning how to function in the real world. As most of us know, teens are not the easiest to deal with, even on a good day. Imagine, if you will, being a hormonal teen whose parents have rejected their role and therefore you. Now you're placed in a group home with other frustrated and angry teens, or in a foster home where everything you do is monitored. Now you have the perfect storm for one frustrated and angry young adult. So as members of this community, how do we make existence somewhat easier for these children? We help to fill in the gaps where possible, and that takes fundings. Thank you to our judge, our commissioners, for recognizing the importance of our endeavor.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, I have Bob Goldstein. Mr. Goldstein wants to talk on agenda item number 12, the road. Bob?
My name is Bob Goldstein. I'm from Beedice, Texas, and I am here addressing that agenda item. Listening to the court as best I could during the COVID and hearing some of the arguments, not all of them. I'm for putting the road in, and part of it's safety hazard for kids and people coming out of that high school. Also, if it's done right with TechStop, putting in the way to get on it, get off of it, I think all in all, it'd be better for the county. Also, that argument has been going on for quite a while. I know that I was there when you started with working with Mr. Westmoreland, getting the property from Mr. Westmoreland, and the time that it took. I believe you have money already invested in it. Also, I am familiar with the rising cost of putting things in and waiting too long to get it done. You're gonna have a higher cost for putting that road in. I'm all for it. You got the equipment out there, you got the people out there, you need to proceed with it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Miss, is it Marcy Pavlock?
Yes, sir.
Marcy? Ms. Pavlock, you want to speak about the road? It's the agenda item number 12.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Come to the podium, please. Thank you.
I'm here on behalf, Mr. Bean is out of town today, so I'm here on his behalf for Anderson Shiro CISD. I would like to take just a couple of minutes to request that the court to continue to work on the plans to construct that second entrance off of Highway 90 for the Grimes County Justice Center. The second entrance off of Highway 90 would be very beneficial to current transportation things that we have going on 149. I don't know if you've ever driven down it at between 7:15 and 8 o'clock in the morning, or 3 o'clock to 4:30 in the afternoon, but it is very congested. We have over 880 students or parents of students that go down that road every day, and all the traffic that travels 149 is a congestion nightmare right now at different times of the day. Knowing the new Justice Center will bring additional traffic to Highway 149, school traffic problems will only multiply, as well as safety hazards of more vehicles on the road. In conclusion, I would like to request for the court to continue plans to construct the second entrance to the Grimes County Justice Center off of State Highway 90.
Ms. Pavlock, you're the elementary school teacher?
The
Principal?
Yes, sir.
Bless your heart.
I mean, 34 more days, but I'm not counting.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Oh, goodness. Next, I have Mr. Gary Williamson. Gary wanted to, also on agenda item number 12.
I too am in favor, I'm Gary Williamson, I'm a citizen of Grant County. I too am in favor of the installing the road between the Justice Center and Highway 90. If early mornings and middle afternoons, you would swear that almost half of the population of the school district drive to school rather than take the buses. And when you come down here, when there's court in session or even a jury call, parking and traffic is another issue, excuse me. So therefore, I would highly recommend that you put the new road in to make it access much better. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I have Connie Clements, also on agenda item number 12, construction of access road from State Highway 90.
My name is Connie Clements. I'm from Navasota, Texas. Good morning, commissioners and judge.
Good morning.
I agree with everything that everybody else said. I'm in favor of constructing that road. I'm kind of a worst-case scenario person and a long-term thinker. And one of the things that I have thought of is, should there be some kind of road hazard, or if 149 is shut down for some reason, if there's a wreck, hazard on the road, or heaven forbid, an active shooter situation at the schools or a crisis at the jail, there's no way to get in or out of the Justice Center for emergency vehicles or first responders if you don't have another entrance. And therefore, I think State Highway 90 entrance is really necessary. And I'd like to see it approved, and I'll go forward with it.
Thank you, ma'am. Those are all the public comment sheets that I have. Commissioners, do y'all have any?
I have three
You have three?
comments.
Okay.
St. Mary's Catholic Church is having a blood drive Sunday from 8 o'clock until 1 o'clock. The first annual Grimes County Animal Rescue fundraiser is set for May the 1st at the fairgrounds. We will have Doug Stone as the highlight of the event and a concert Saturday night. There will also be food served and a live auction, so please come out and support Grimes County Animal Rescue.
Do you have a time for that?
The doors will open at 5:30.
Okay.
And then finally, the Anderson Food Pantry will be distributing out food tomorrow, first Thursday of each month.
Thank you, sir. Any other comment?
Judge,
Yes, sir.
I signed up to speak, but I didn't
Oh, you did?
describe which item I wanted to speak on,
Okay.
because I wasn't sure.
Mr. Westmoreland?
And of course, I'm gonna speak on the road, same as the last speakers. I'm not really familiar with what the process is at this point, or what's been said, or what's been done. This project I was first approached about it by Commissioner Husband. I'm not sure how long Gary's been dead, but that's when the county first approached me about doing this. And as of today, there seems to be still some controversy about it. And I just wanted to clarify where I stand on it. We have a clause in our agreement that the deal's done. The property's been sold, abstract company that transferred it into the proper names. And so here's what the deal is, though, in the contract. If the road is not completed by a reasonable time frame, and it's described in the contract, the land reverts back to me if I so wanted to. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do. If you don't complete the road by the terms of the contract, I'm gonna take the land back, but I got somebody that wants it. So it
Okay.
won't be there.
All right, sir. Thank you.
5 years waiting on the decision.
We appreciate all the public comments. We'll now go to consent agenda items number 3, 4, 5, and 6. Agenda item number 3, consider and take action to approve the treasurer's list of claims and bills. 4, approve monthly report submitted by the county treasurer for February 2021 and authorize advertisement of affidavit of same in accordance with local government code 114.026. That's page 7 of this agenda. Agenda item number 5, consider and take action to approve payroll. Number 6, consider and take action to approve budget amendments and/or line item transfers. Commissioners, please.
Number 7 is on.
Is it also?
Yes.
Yeah, it's on
Yeah.
page 5.
I stand corrected. Yes, number 7. But let me just say on agenda item number 6, consent agenda item number 6, the first item is to be X'd off of your consent agenda items. That's not to be considered. But if we go to agenda item number 7, consideration of possible approval of a water line installation permit for Wixon Creek SUD on County Road 172 in Precinct 1, and that's our attachment number 7. Okay.
Judge, on
Ma'am.
number 6, we have VA,
Oh.
fiscal year, number 5, VA number 5 should be fiscal year 2020.
I'm sorry, you gave me that yesterday, thank you.
And the LITF number 3 should be fiscal year 2020 as well.
Did you get that, Commissioner?
Was it 2 or 3?
VA 5 should be fiscal year 2020. And then LITF should be, LITF 3 should be fiscal year 2020 as well.
Okay, on budget item,
The 206,000. They're both.
no, on the 735, was that 2020 or 2021? Or did I circle the wrong one?
That's 2020, but that one's correct.
Okay.
Are there any other modifications or questions regarding consent agenda items 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7?
Just, 1 second. And Jesse, there was one other thing you and I talked about. It was budget amendment number 2, that a portion of that had already been awarded in 2020. Is that correct? Or 2021? Because it's 735, you said it should be 7, we actually received 738.
I didn't get that.
On VA2, that one is correct. The other portion, there was already an amendment done for the other portion
Okay, that's what I'm speaking to.
Yes, ma'am.
There was
So
already
this-
an amendment done for
previously.
the previously. In other words, we received more money than this from the insurance,
Right.
but this is the remaining amount. With that being said, if there are no other questions, then I make a motion that we approve consent agenda items 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Second.
There's a motion before the court on consent agenda items number 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 by Commissioner Walker, seconded by Commissioner Dobianski. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. We will now go to agenda item number 8. Grimes County Commissioner Precinct 2, David Dobianski, consider and recognition of following employees for their years of service. Let's do these one at a time, and we'll take the oldest first. No, the longest serving first. How's that? Okay? Most experienced, best seasoned, okay. Laura Zaragoza for 30 years of service to Grimes County.
Thank you very much. Actually, I started with the county judge, Larry Snook, in 1991.
That'd be 30 years ago.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank y'all.
She deserves special commendation for spending the vast majority of that time working for me.
Well, I think you ought to take her to lunch today.
I think I might just do that.
All right.
And she still works for him.
That's
right.
more to her capacities than mine. She does put up with me for some reason. I don't know.
We're going to invite Talita Coleman out of Human Resources. Talita, 10 years of service.
Awesome.
If you want me to photobomb you, just let me know.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sir? That's right. And then Stacy Mail, 5 years of service, Stacy. Stacy's over in our AgriLife.
He just didn't want to give it to me.
Congratulations. Well done. All right, we come to agenda item number 9, Grimes County Child Welfare Board. Consider and take action to declare April 2021 as Child Abuse Prevention Month. See attachment number 9. I'll read the proclamation. Proclamation of the State of Texas, the County of Grimes, whereas nearly 200,000 children in Texas are reported as abused or neglected every year, and whereas child abuse prevention is a community responsibility and finding solutions depends on involvement among all people, and whereas communities must make every effort to promote programs that benefit children and their families, whereas communities must take whereas effective child abuse prevention programs succeed because partnerships among agencies, schools, religious organizations, law enforcement agencies, and the business community, and whereas everyone in the community should become more aware of child abuse prevention and consider helping parents raise their children in a safe, nurturing environment. Now, therefore, we, the Grimes County Commissioners Court, do hereby proclaim April 2021 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Grimes County, Texas. We urge all citizens to work together to help reduce child abuse and neglect significantly in years to come. Grimes County, we will date it as for today. And any comments or questions, commissioners? I made a comment on my personal Facebook page that I took a picture of the pinwheels and the sign out front. My comment was, it's a shame that we have to have a month of recognition for this, but I'm glad we have agencies and citizens that are willing to put themselves out there to help our children. Thank you very much.
I have a comment, Judge. I've worked with the Child Welfare Board for the past 5 years, I guess, as a liaison to the court, and we're in desperate need of foster parents in the county. We need to get the word out to our churches, to our community leaders, to get some foster parents here in the county. I think we only have, what, one right now? One or two. And we have had as many as 50 children in CPS custody in the 5 years that I've been on the working with the board. So.
And the sad part, then those children go out of our county.
Yes.
Right, exactly.
Can you speak to?
Absolutely. Then I believe, don't we have a, let me just double check here. Yes, number 10 is Sexual Assault Resource Center Executive Director Lauren Carroll Spitznagel. And agenda item number 10, consider and take action to proclaim April 2021 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Again, it's a shame that we have to have that type of recognition. But did you want to come to the podium? Was there anything that you wanted to say? I'd be glad to read the proclamation, or would you prefer to read it?
I'm Lauren.
Yes.
Make a motion on the.
Okay. What is Mr. Foltz? I was understanding that we don't need a motion on the proclamations.
Oh, it said to take action.
All right, we shall. Hold just 1 minute.
Okay.
On agenda item number 9, consider and take action to declare April 2021 as Child Abuse Prevention Month. Is there a motion?
I move to approve, declare April 2021 as Child Abuse Prevention Month.
Okay.
Second.
Too slow there, Commissioner Dobianski. There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 9 by Commissioner Mallett, seconded by Commissioner Cox. Is there further discussion? In hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. So it's proclaimed. Agenda item number 10. Consider and take action to proclaim April 2021 as Sexual Assault. Would you rejoin us again at the podium?
Your Honor and County Commissioners, thank you so much for allowing us to come this morning in the community of Grimes County. We have been here for over 38 years, and as you were saying, it's sad that we have to do what we do. But on the other hand, the great state of Texas is making so many strides, as you can see, in our legislature and across the whole state, to be able to have more services for survivors of sexual violence and also to prevent it and to put perpetrators in jail. So we are so grateful for your support and your commitment to our Sexual Assault Resource Center and to this community. So we're just very grateful for that support. So
Lauren, were you all able to hold your fundraiser last year with COVID?
We were, and it was an outside, like picnic
Oh,
type of
okay.
fundraiser. It was very fun. We had a taco truck and a brewery, so this year it is gonna be inside, we're hoping, in the same facility. And currently, we also have an art exhibit in downtown Bryan as well at the Frame Gallery. So all the proceeds will go to our counseling department. And so, Your Honor, we've added 2 additional counselors this year because of our wait list.
So I think Miss Brenda Williams was my date, or I was her date, what, in
Yes.
2019? And we thoroughly enjoyed participating, so.
Yeah, well, everybody will have to come this year, so we're looking forward to it.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
I'd like to read the proclamation. The proclamation says, whereas the effects of sexual assault go far beyond the physical, and victims often develop a number of psychological conditions, such as post-traumatic stress disorder and depression affecting families, friends, and Texas communities, spurring fear, anger, and a sense of vulnerability. And whereas few survivors of sexual violence seek help immediately after victimization due to the shame or the fear of not being believed. To end sexual assault, we must alleviate these fears and begin by believing. And whereas as members of a caring society, members of communities across the state of Texas must unite to remove the stigma of rape, and the Brazos Valley community must continue the dialogue started by the Sexual Assault Resource Center in their places of work, schools, and homes. And whereas each year, the month of April provides an opportunity for the Sexual Assault Resource Center and rape crisis centers across the state to renew their commitments to serve their communities. Educational efforts also intensify, which ensures that Texans are aware of the sexual assault services available in their area. And now, therefore, we as the Commissioners Court of Grimes County do hereby designate April 2021 as Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month in Grimes County.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the work y'all do.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
So consider and take action on agenda item number 10. Is there a motion?
I make the motion that we proclaim April 2021 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
Second the motion.
I have a motion before the court on agenda item number 10 by Commissioner Walker, seconded by Commissioner Dobianski. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Our guests are invited to stay for the rest of the Commissioners Court. If you have business to attend, feel free to leave at your leisure. But again, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
We'll go to agenda item number 11. Grimes County Building Maintenance Manager, Mr. Al Peeler, update on ongoing projects, Grimes County Jail and Grimes County Justice Center. Good morning, Mr. Peeler.
Good morning, Commissioners. The first thing is the update on ongoing projects, Grimes County Jail. We're still in a holding pattern. CDC Jail Commission hasn't released any of us continuing on with our major projects that will allow contractors into the building, because it is a 24/7 building. So there isn't really much update on that, except the new unit is on top and running fine. Humidity control is running good. We're doing little things that we can do from the outside. Our contractors can get in that way.
Okay.
That's it for the jail. Grimes County Justice Center, we got a couple things to talk about on that. Everybody got their inclement weather delay log. We are up to 116 days, and it looks like we're going to get some more rain.
When you put the 116 days on the calendar, where does that take us to?
June. End of May.
Really? Okay. What was our original?
Starting in January.
Oh, okay.
We had 12 months, you signed it December 31st.
Right, of 19.
You get the first 30 days.
Right.
And then you get 1 year after the first 30 days.
Okay.
Plus a 30 days substantial completion.
So that's
So
March
that puts
1st.
us May with the 116.
Okay, but I'm going with your 30 days and start. So they should have finished 1st of February, but we got 30 days, which takes us to the 1st of March. And now we put 116 days to the
on
1st
that.
of March.
March, April,
So
May,
March,
June.
April, May, okay. So middle of June.
Yeah. Any other question about that? Your 2-week look ahead. 2-week look ahead, they're really making some progress. We just poured the south parking lot. We're getting ready to start on the 149 road. We have got tape floated all drywall. We are waiting on, we had a little mishap during the freeze. All our air conditioning coils froze up and busted. The company has agreed to put all brand new coils in the air handlers. They won't get to us until April 19th. So that's another setback. We're looking forward to installing lights and putting up the grid. We're waiting until after the air conditioning gets on to prime the walls. We're that close. So,
Is that holding you up on laying, that's also holding you up on laying your ceiling?
yes. Any questions on the 2-week look ahead? Okay, so everybody has this one. We're gonna run over this. I'm in the middle of signage submittals, reviewing it. Couple questions, statements that were made that I need clarification by the court. The top of this picture is the tower. That's our county logo on our website. Is that what we want to stay with, or do we want the seal of Grimes County?
I would like to seal of Grimes County, I think.
I've never seen this. So.
Yeah, I just got it yesterday.
Oh, okay.
That's why
Like,
you haven't
it
seen it.
is? I hadn't seen that.
Yeah, I
I'm-
think the seal is fine.
So you'd rather have the seal?
That's my comment, that's your comment.
Yes.
Commissioner
Yeah.
Dobianski? Commissioner Cox?
I agree with the seal. I also, after looking at this, it's not the Grimes County Courthouse.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
We-
I didn't catch that either. It's Grimes County Justice Center.
Right.
Did we say justice and business?
Justice and Business Center.
Business.
Yep.
Okay, so, forgive me, but I gotta put notes on it.
Alice, this could be like a plaque.
Yes. Grimes County Justice Center. So, of course, 2020 will be 21. The other question that was brought up, Chad Mallett, Barbara Walker, and Philip Cox, besides Philip, his name being misspelled. David has his middle initial. Do the other commissioners want their middle initial, or do we want to take David's out?
Well, I'm not in this discussion because I don't have a middle initial. I'll abstain.
I'm good with
I can go with either way.
I've signed my name that way since I was in high school.
So do we want to leave it that way?
I do.
Sure.
Just go
That's
with,
the
go
way
with
he
middle
wants it.
initial.
If that, go, all right, so what's yours?
L.
L? Okay.
H.
H? And Philip, Commissioner Cox?
L.
L? Okay. So that's what it'll look like after I'm done, unless there's any other discussion about this.
I do have a comment on it. I'd like to add the project manager's name to this plaque. I think he has made a tremendous contribution in the management and navigation of the construction so far, and I think it would only be fitting to add his name to this plaque.
I agree 100%. And since we have architect PGAL on there, they ought to pay for the plaque.
It's in the bid set.
Sorry?
It's in the bid set.
Oh, okay.
I asked that yesterday.
So what's your middle initial, Mr. Peeler?
It'd be William A. Peeler.
Okay.
Or you want Al in parentheses?
No, I'm good, William A. That way I can stay here.
That's a good ad, Commissioner.
I appreciate that. It means a lot.
Absolutely.
All right.
So we're good with that then?
I'm good with that. If there's any other questions about that? Okay.
All right, we will then, if you're through with those, then we'll go, are you?
Yes, sir.
We'll go to agenda item number 12, discuss and take action to approve the following project modification proposals. We have 1909-22, 1909-022R1, 1909-022R2, 1909-023, and 1909-024. See attachment 12.
All right, so everybody knows this is the change orders for the proposal for the driveway, county road, whatever we're calling it, coming off of 9.
Well, I think Mr. Walker has stated and Mr. Foltz has stated that it is a county road.
Okay, so we'll call it a county road. All right, so I'm gonna explain this and then we'll go one by one. 1909-022 is the whole shebang. It's curbs, it's lighting, it's fiber conduit, it's drainage, it's all wrapped up in the 469. That's 22. Due to 469 and know where the budget was just running through it, I had spoke with Chad on some of the things. I spoke with Harry, and they got it down, taking out the left turn lane in the drive in the county road, and minus some curbs, minus the curbs and minus some drainage work. But they left it 22R1, they left the light poles and bases in it. So that's the 389-237 without the left turn lane, drainage, and no curbs. Okay?
Can I ask you a question on the original front entrance on 149?
Okay?
Does that road have lights, curbs, and all that business?
Yes,
Okay, and that's all in the original contract?
that's in the bid.
All right.
Well, it does have curbs?
Yes.
Okay, back to 20, are we on R22, 022R1?
Yes.
Okay, and you said that drainage,
So instead of having if you have curbs, you gotta have a storm sewer drainage. Without curbs, it runs off. So that's without that.
so instead of curbs, we have storm sewer?
No, that's without storm sewer. If you have
This
curbs,
proposal is with, because I'm looking at storm sewer.
right, that's on the ends of it,
Okay.
correct? That's on the end. If you would have storm drains. So So storm drains, if you had curbs, you had to have storm drains to get to the storm sewer.
That's because you got a downhill slope heading towards 90 and you can't be flushing the water out onto 90, is that right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Any more questions on 22R1? So 22R2 is 334, same thing, except we took the light poles and bases out in the attempt to get it closer to the estimate of 295. Any questions about 22R2?
Yes. You have the storm sewer in that for 18,730. If we don't have curbs, why do we need the storm sewer in that?
So it runs down, we just, storm sewers down here.
Right.
Not storm drains. 22R1 has the storm sewer in it.
Well, so does 22R2 has it also.
Right, absolutely. It's storm drains that's missing. Storm sewers down here at 90.
Okay?
Water runs
So all of them are
off
gonna have a storm sewer.
Yeah, all of them, you'll have to
Okay.
have that.
Okay,
It's storm drains.
all right.
If we have curbs, we have to have storm drains.
Okay, I'm with you.
What's the inlets, I guess, when you have the curves, it's the inlets. Did we have inlets on there, or no? Right here.
Yeah.
Okay. There is no storm sewer on any of it. The 18,000 is culverts across the end of the road where it ties into Highway 90 or ties into the parking lot. That's in all three options.
Okay?
Yeah.
The original option had curbs with curb cuts every so often and a little gravel pad to dissipate that water as it comes out. There is no storm sewer running parallel to the road anywhere.
No.
In the second and third options, they deleted the curbs and the little gravel pads to dissipate the water. You're gonna have those culverts across the ends of the road in either case. Because that's what carries the ditch on Highway 90 across the road. That's what carries the ditch next to the parking lot across the road.
And is that the difference between the 19,393 and the 18,730? And the storm sewer?
The storm sewer is 18,730.
On your first 22,
Okay?
okay.
That's your storm drain. That's the outlets on the curb.
Yeah, those are the cuts. The cuts.
Yeah, I think that's what the difference between the 19 and the
18 is the storm drains,
Yeah,
Okay.
curb cuts.
curb cuts. You civil man. Storm drains. I know. Let me build the building. You guys deal with it.
Al, I have a question. What is SWPPP? Right under storm sewer.
Stormwater prevention, pollution prevention plan.
Okay, thank you. Stormwater prevention,
Pollution prevention.
pollution prevention. Okay. Thank you.
Is there any other questions on 22R2?
Was there a recommendation from the, well, no, was there a recommendation from you?
Let me get through the change orders and then I'll go. to the
Okay.
question.
Fair enough.
23. 23 is if you accept the R2 and you decide, hey, I wanted lights, that's, you can do the project modification proposal for 23 and that would add lights to whatever you decide on 22, 22R1, 22R2. Not 22, 22 already comes with it. In 1909, 024. That's the same, it's another proposal that if you take 22R2, you can add that back in. But that wouldn't, so if you do that and you accept 22R1, that's got the light poles in it. So you would have to add your conduit back. The conduit's the only thing that hasn't been mixed into a proposal. Does that make sense to you?
The conduit's in 22,
Conduit is in 22,
it's not in R1, R2.
R1, and it's not in 22
Well,
R2.
to share with the court, the Rescue America plan that's coming out, and that's out of Congress's last relief bill, the $2 trillion. It's my understanding, and the information that I got from NACO, National Association of Counties, is that Grimes County is designated to get $5.6 million out of that project. We're going to get half of that supposedly direct deposited into our account by the end of May this year. And my understanding is that we would get the other half directly deposited into our account at the end of May next year. What I don't know is what are all of the strings, the attachments, the requirements that we're going to have to adhere to. But it's supposed to be much more relaxed than the CARES Act that the state initiated to us after they got the federal money. And one of the things that I do know that is in this Rescue America plan is a lot of money for fiber work activity for rural communities. That being the case, I would think we could get that money for the conduit, because that's something we've talked about. Should we, shouldn't we? I think we should, but what's the best way and when to spend the money? But it might be that we could recoup that out of that first deposit. So that first deposit is going to be what, 2.8 million? Yeah, about 2.8 million. So we could certainly get the 20,000 out of that if we did not approve that today in one of the packages. Or, I don't know from an auditing standpoint, and you probably know less on the rules than I've been briefed on at this point, but it might be we could do the work, not pay the bill for 30 days or 40 days until we find out what the requirements are, and then get it taken care of with Collier, if we elected to do that now. There's some ifs and I don't knows and buts in that statement I just made, but what has been publicized and communicated to at our county judges conference last week, that the money has been approved and the money is going to be there. And some of the cities are going to get allocations out of this also, but that had not yet been distributed and made publicly aware. They were doing it alphabetically, so Navasota wasn't there yet. I mean, they were doing it alphabetically by cities and counties, and they hadn't got to the G's yet. So I don't know if Navasota, Bedice, Planterville, Iola, and Todd Mission, if they're going to have individual allotments or not. But with $2 trillion floating around, right now our designated amount is 5.6 million.
And it's anticipated, like the first Corona relief funds that were deposited directly, a certain percentage.
Yeah. We got 20% of the first deposit on the Corona, yes.
20% on the first,
Yes,
that
ma'am.
was the first time.
Right.
So we're anticipating 2.8 million at the end of May.
Yes, ma'am. Now, I do know that we cannot use that money to lower property taxes. That money is specifically designed for, I understand, infrastructure and things of that sort to make the community safer, better, and on and on and on.
No
So,
loss of revenues.
ma'am?
The loss of revenues that.
From
came
sales tax and gas tax and
Court
things being shut down,
systems
court
and-
taxes, you're right. So we can recoup some of our funding that we have lost, and I know that's a lot for you to hear, Al, but I just want to say that if for some reason the court decided not to do the fiber today, I think we could still come back and do the fiber within 60 days and have money from this Rescue America plan to take care of it.
And this is fiber running from this particular location or the
No,
location?
ma'am. It goes from the Justice Center to 90.
Via the new road,
Being
if we approve
the
that.
new county road.
And then that would then cross over 90 going to the annex where we're here, because we're gonna rehabilitate this.
Not in this, that's at a later date.
Right,
Yeah.
but we're talking at least getting it down to 90
Yes,
is what we're talking
I
about.
didn't want that to be, we're going from the Justice Center to 90.
But I've
So this
also
would be
thought
the
with this
tie-in.
Rescue America, we might be able to get it across 90, down 90, to the annex, to the courthouse.
Yeah, that's,
But this is
Commissioner.
tied to the BB cog loop?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Are we not, do we already not have fiber to the jail?
yes.
we do.
But it would be completely, it's not associated or tied into the BB cog, I guess, is that?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's what I mean, the existing fiber that we have.
That loop is BV cog, okay, and that's what they did on their $20 million grant project with loans. And that was to get law enforcement, health, schools, that type of thing. But
this
law
would create-
enforcement and health.
This would create a loop, in other words, to kind of help with our service if anything's cut, or is it, do we? need-
I don't think that, Commissioner, I don't think we're gonna be, the whole fiber ring is in a route, in a loop, so if they cut it at B-Dyes, we still get it down here because the ring goes around. But if we had a cut here at 90, then that would cut it here at the annex and at the new courthouse. Or if you had a cut during construction between the jail and the new Justice Center, you wouldn't have that fiber connection until it was repaired.
Now, it is my understanding we're doing it wirelessly now. Are we shooting across?
No, you got solid fiber.
We got solid fiber running to this building.
No. Right now, you have wireless in this building.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's where I'm going. This is the purpose of this conduit, right? Is to eventually tie it to fiber.
Yes, ma'am.
Directly to this particular building
Yes, ma'am.
And-
This building and the courthouse.
and the courthouse.
Correct.
Okay, because right now, we're doing it wirelessly from the sheriff department.
That is correct.
Which is why we have
Okay, I was
interruptions.
thinking this was to tie in.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to say why we're doing it.
And that'll give us better reception, more reception, quicker, faster, better, cheaper.
So what I need to do is, I guess we'll just go in order of the change orders, and you can either vote.
Can we ask some more questions?
Absolutely.
I do have two other papers about monies.
Yes,
Can we,
yes.
I think it was provided by the auditor.
Absolutely.
So after speaking with the judge, we
I-
have,
I didn't get my corrected copy.
it's up there.
It's on the paper.
It should be up there.
I stand corrected.
Okay. After speaking with the judge, we had discussed the 1.5 million that was remaining outside of the Collier contract. So when this all first started, the Collier contract was 10.4 million, and the auditor at that time had said that she would but the budget would be $12 million. So that would leave you with a 1.5 to work with. The judge had a breakdown, which I wanted to ensure that everyone had it on the court, where that one.
I had a breakdown on the whiteboard,
Yes, sir.
clarify that.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
I don't want the public to think I had a breakdown.
Oh.
That's coming, all right?
You may have one of those too, though. So the 1.5 and how it would be spent, they had, currently right now, it's $335,000 for the alternate entry. The geotech, which was only $20,000 budgeted in the Collier contract, we needed an extra $25,000. The maintenance building, as of right now, it's set at $400,000. The annex remodeling is $250, the phones at $358, and the office furniture, try to keep in line with $165. That doesn't leave much of that 1.5. I don't feel comfortable going over the 12 million. The 12 million leaves us less than 6 months reserves, which is what I would like to have. So to stay in line with the budget, the 335 for the road, unless you move some from other areas, which I don't think would be a possibility with the maintenance building. I think that's probably growing every time we meet. But that's what that piece of
Maintenance storage building.
storage building, well, it said maintenance on the whiteboard, so. The next page is a Justice Center analysis of where we stand. It gives a breakdown of how much was spent as of 9/30/2020, with what your remaining fund balance would be at that time, and then also a look into what we've already spent in 2021 and where your fund balance would stand at that point. The PGAL contract was not part of the 12 million. That's an additional, the original contract was 610,000. When we added the option of a second insurance, that made us go over that budgeted amount by 26,000 because we had to add that roadway design with PGAL. So, and then we had other additional expenses that have happened, transpired in order to get this building up and started with the advertisements, the Zorpro, the analytical services, which was another 120,000. So I just want the court to be aware of where we stand, where we're at, and understand that the 12 million will put us less than 6 months reserves.
How much less?
It's 4.5, approximately 4.5 months.
Well, I believe initially when we came up with the 12 million, that was just for the Justice Center.
It was.
We really didn't, look ahead to make sure we had enough money to remodel the annex either.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, the 12 million included the annex
Did we
remodeling.
talk about the annex remodeling?
Yes,
I didn't
yes.
think we had talked about that.
That was discussed in that.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't think that was initially discussed. Okay.
It was. My concern is, I heard you say the maintenance storage building is increasing. At the 400,000 now, this is for what size building?
I'm hoping it's a 60 by 100,
What was the figure that we started off with the maintenance building now?
250.
I think originally we talked about 40 by 80.
Originally, we talked about a 24 by 24, and then it just kept growing after that.
But the 24 by 24 was never 250,000.
Yes. Yes. That was with, it was a 24 by 24 maintenance shed with 10 by 10 stalls of who was in the Justice Center, that it was gonna be storage. Remember, we were gonna build the 24 by 24, and then it was gonna be how many roll-up storage sheds that we needed off the maintenance
Okay,
shed.
what I'm saying though, is the 250,000 did not cover only the 24 by 24.
Oh, absolutely. No, it also included the storage
Correct.
building.
And then when the elected officials saw that they were only gonna get 10 by 10, that's when the ceiling started falling and we started expanding the floor space.
Absolutely. And this last one was a 60 by 100, and that is in the works right now to getting estimates for that. I hope I can do it for that. I don't know. It's gonna be close.
Well, the costs keep going up.
Right.
So in other words, if what we have remaining from, what I understand you say, Jesse, at this particular point, and the use of project funds outside of the Collier contract, we're down to 12,000 in the original 12 million.
If these stay in line.
If
are
these
just-
things stay in line.
Yes, these are just estimates.
And we still don't have we have an estimate about the office furniture, but that's still up in the air at this point, correct?
Me and Jennifer are working on that. We need, we have people, the department heads are looking right now at what they can use out of our furniture that we're not taking. We need to have all that in by Friday, and then we'll commence on putting that package together and see where we can take it from there.
Correct me if I'm incorrect, though, the high end or our maximum liability when we had that furniture request submitted was $165,000, and we were of the opinion that's if we bought what people said they wanted up front.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, and that was also taking estimates from Quill, which is probably cheaper than what we're gonna be looking at.
So, with these proposed figures here, you got a pretty small target. Do you think that any of these are gonna deviate by $12,000?
I think if we continue to let the maintenance and storage building grow and that will overcome that $12,000.
Will exceed the 12.
Could exceed it, yes. But if we stop it and let me get the shell built, let me do some of the work on my own, I think we should be in the 400.
So this has been brought up before, probably by me. We talked about turnkey, okay, because we don't know what tomorrow holds. And you're talking about this is work you're going to complete and do yourself. And if you're unable to do that, then we're looking at a building that's not completed. So what is the turnkey of the 60 by 100?
I won't know that. I haven't had a chance to work on it.
Well, and two, as far as completion of a building, we can take out the renovations to this and then figure out how we're gonna pay for that later, as long as we get our building completed the way it needs to be completed and go from there. Where it's operational, the storage they do need, we wanna make sure that it's what they do need, not what they really want as far as files and everything that can be stored somewhere else or shipped to Austin or whatever, but as, so it's a functioning building, we can, take out the remodel of the annex.
And we-
And then figure out at a later time, when we have more narrow, more honed in target of actual price, we can figure that and however much we have left or.
Well, don't we still have 90,000 left in landscaping?
That comes out this week, so depending on what the new drawings, and Chad has been working with Michael on that. He's tried to tell him to scale back. He's brought some amendments into that, so that will come out this week so that Collier can get it bid, and then we can look and see what we have left.
I mean, we can do all that, and how many times are we gonna do it? I mean, we set a budget, we set a project goal, we knew what we were gonna get into going into it. And this is where we're at. It's constantly expanding, it's constantly costing us more money, and now we're down to a $12,000 possible target. And we don't even have the Justice Center complete yet.
Well, yes.
Do you anticipate any additional change orders?
I don't, I can't tell you that.
As a construction manager, do you?
You're asking me to foresee the future.
The auditor's shaking her head yes.
All right, the auditor
I'm
can
not a project
say.
manager, I'm just saying with anything, building a house, you have the potential of more change orders. There's the potential of the change orders.
Yes, we just approved today, we did a budget amendment for $206,000 change order for just the courthouse. Because what initially, or what ultimately happened is you have a change order come in here, change order come in there. By the time we added it all up, then we had $206,000 in change orders.
Right, that you approved.
Mm-hmm.
you're asking me to act, that you approved that I knew of. I can't sit here and tell you of future change orders. That would be asking me to foresee the future. I can't do that.
Well, based on what we've done, your training and experience, would you anticipate that there's a good likelihood we're gonna have change orders coming down the pipe?
I think right now, if nothing today changes, we're set to follow course. Now, if jail commission comes in and goes, I don't like that, you change that, you change this, I don't have any control over that. If we set the course of what we're doing now, I don't see, I don't even want to say that because I can't predict the future. So if we have a problem, I didn't draw the plans, so I don't see any, but that's not to say there isn't gonna be any.
Well, the thing is, we haven't spent all that money to the 12,000 yet. I mean, we haven't spent on, I mean, the ones for sure that are designated for right now are the phones and the extra lab. So, you know, depending on what we do decide on the maintenance building, it could be more or less, hopefully less. Same thing with the annex remodel, those are estimates until we actually know what we're gonna spend. Then we can figure out what we need to do to spend, whether it's, you know, tax notes, or we've found out we have enough money in the budget for it to budget it in next year's budget, once we actually do the remodel. So, I mean,
I'd like to make
and the
two,
furniture be less as well, so.
I'd like to make two comments. One to Commissioner Walker, and correct me if I'm wrong, Al, but when he said he's gonna do a lot of it himself on the maintenance and storage, he's gonna be acting as the general contractor, bringing in his vendors and what have you. He's not gonna be hanging the walls and the doors and all of that himself physically. He'll oversee that versus a general contractor. Am I right or wrong in that?
That's correct.
So you're talking as acting as general contractor, not actually putting in this work?
No, I will probably put in the toilet stools and stuff like that, because that's like 10 minutes and I can have that done. But for the, like, I'm gonna take the 2 units off Road and Bridge, and I'm gonna put them package units, because they're fairly new package units. I can have them moved over there and they can set and they can run ducking. But I can design it, I don't have to pay for that. I can design it the way it needs to be. And then I can have my vendor do it that way. That's what I mean by I can do the work. I can become the GC.
The second comment I want to make is that when we got, I don't know which application of P-Gal's drawings, but we got a $17.5 million proposal, and it was a 42,000 square foot building. And we looked in that floor plan and we looked at all of that storage, and one of the things that was said is, why in the world are we going to pay $335 or $325 a square foot for storage? We sent PGAL back to the drawing board, brought it back down to scale, so we went from 17.5 down to 10.5, and the thought was, at least my thought was from the beginning, I won't speak for everybody else, but we will then, on the maintenance facility, we'll extend that, expand that to take care of storage, because we can build that for, I don't know, $85 to $125 a square foot. We're talking about a 6,000 square foot facility that's going to cost us, the citizens of Grimes County, far less than $325. So with us thinking back before we signed the contract, we already brought the price of the overall project down $7 million. Not that we would have ever done the 17.5, but we knew we didn't want to tackle that size of a financial project. So Commissioner Cox, I understand what you're saying about the 12 million, and I think we ought to, as a court, do everything we can to stay as close to that 12 million, but if we spend it now and save later, I think that's what we ought to do. And I appreciate the auditor's watchdog aspect of, hey, don't take us down too far, don't take us down too low, we gotta function. I appreciate your awareness there. But this is a big deal for Grimes County. This is a big project, and it's not something that's going to be over this year or next year. We're building something that I believe is good for the next 25 to 50 years. And we need to be forward-looking in how we get it done. Be conservative, but we need to get it done.
Okay, I don't want to go less than 4.5. I mean, the 12 million will put us at 4.5, and that is already low. It may be good, and you say spend more now, but when we get in a bind, which we will get in a bind because there will be grants that come up that we are going to need to be able to have funding to do that with, and we will not be in a position to do that. So the 12 million, there is a way to stay in budget, and that is just make the choices, the smart choices within that. If the second entrance is needed or court decides it, stay with it, pick the choices that are within the budget. And at that point, because you say don't use.
Jesse, but part of the debate, none of the choices we have in front of us are in the original proposal or guesstimate that the architect gave us. We got an architect estimate, which was $295.
You have 335.
I understand, that's the contractor's proposal. The architect said, oh, it's gonna be around $295,000.
I understand.
When the people that are gonna do the work got it, they said it's $335. I don't think it's fair to the project manager to say, okay, from the architect to the contractor, $40,000 increase, which is what it is from $295 to the $335, that we can't do it. We need to figure out how to do it.
Right, you have the 335 in here, that still leaves you the 12,000. And then the second question that I wanted to ask was, when you say don't do the 250,000 renovations right now, are you planning on using revenues for, because that would be.
Well, that's the thing, we can, I mean, I think we need to complete the project that's over there, not necessarily this one, because most of these offices are gonna be moving. We would have time to figure out what we need to do for the renovation of this, how to pay for it, whether that would be, you know, if we still have budget left over within to keep us within the fund balance, or do we need to, you know, issue tax notes, or do we need to, you know, budget within the next year's budget and reduce where we need to reduce to pay for it?
In our workshop.
Because, you know, it's, you know, I think it's critical that we actually get the building built right, that's functional, with the storage that we need, with the safety concerns as far as the road, that we actually get that part right, and then we can assess what we need to do for any additional, like the renovations and whatnot, you know. I think we would have a little bit of time to actually do something with that, because these officers are going to the new building.
And you have other offices coming to
That
this
will-
building
That will be
too.
coming here, yeah, that's what I mean.
That
So
is
we would
neat.
have, you know, right now they're okay where they're at, but, I mean, we definitely want to get over there as quick as we can. But that would give us the opportunity to figure out what we need to do budgeting, to where we're sound as far as money in the fund balance and what we might need to do. But I also want, you know, yeah, but we want to be fiscally responsible with what we're doing with the new building, but we also want to make sure it gets done right. So, I mean, that's where I'm going.
In our furniture workshop a few weeks ago, we discussed moving the furniture that we're gonna have left over into this building to auction it off or whatever, or people to come in and select it. If we move out of here in June, the renovation's not gonna start on this for how long, Al? A couple of months probably?
60 days.
How long?
60 days.
60 days. So that's gonna be almost September. We'll be into a new budget year. We'll be working on a new budget. We can leave the renovation off right now, use that money on this road and get it done and get it over with. As we heard testimony this morning, the school traffic is gonna get worse because everybody is looking for property in the Anderson School District. There's an explosion of building in the Anderson School District. We've got subdivisions coming in. people are buying property in the Anderson School District. The traffic's only gonna get worse over there. We've gotta have another entrance into that facility.
Right, you just have 3 change orders you can choose from for that entrance, if you choose to do the entrance.
Right.
And one of those change orders stays within your budget that's allotted on your sheet, correct? The 22
Well,
R1 stays.
pull your
within-
camera up, you took the picture of my whiteboard.
You have it in front of you, the paper of your whiteboard. I typed it up so everyone would.
Yeah, 335.
Is that what we put in there? Okay,
That's
so we
what I
got
was-
335.
That's what I was saying.
Okay. So we had already changed it once we got the real bid.
Yeah, so what I hear Commissioner Mallett saying though, if you take off the annex remodel, you're at
You have 262,000.
85.
But you want to try to stay within
Yeah,
your,
yeah.
you don't want to just
No,
move it
I
and
agree,
go
but-
overextend
yeah, no.
just because.
No, like I said, you still want to be fiscally responsible, but you want to make sure it's done right. You don't want to cut and it not be functional or not be safe, or, you know, you don't want to do that sort of thing.
Right, but I think you didn't, earlier you stated the turning lane may not be needed or necessary. And the.
Well, we don't
curb-
have one at the other end, so.
Right.
Where are we on the turning lane? Just, where are we on the turning lane?
Well, I think your 335 bid does not have a turning.
Right.
The,
On the county
the,
road.
the R and the R1 have the turn, that have a 3-lane entrance.
No, the only one that has the turning lane is 22.
Okay,
R1 does not, and R2 does not.
okay. So if you had the turning lane put in on it, Commissioner Walker, you're gonna expand that exit portion going out on 90 about 100 foot to a 3-lane versus a 2-lane. Is that correct, Harry? About 100?
Yes, sir.
And that's $469,641.
469,000 is turnkey curbs, drain, sewer drains on the curbs, fiber conduit, lights, poles, bases, that's everything.
So is that the difference also in the concrete paving? Is that the turning lanes?
Concrete paving.
And the curbs and the turning lane.
Right.
Commissioner Walker, if you went for the whole project, we have budgeted $335,000. If you did that, the the 022, the full turnkey, we need to then come up with $134,641 to pay for the difference. If you decided to hold off on this renovation and you went with the 22, then you can still cover everything on the front end bid, and then we just have to figure out a little later on how we're gonna get this remodeled, where the money comes from for that. Does that answer your question, Commissioner Walker?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, Judge, are you gonna open it up for any type of discussion or comment?
I think we need to.
Okay.
Ms. LaFleur?
I'd just like to say something about this maintenance and storage building, because, and Vanessa, correct me if I'm wrong, but maintenance and storage, if people are thinking storage of maintenance things, it's not. It's storage of our records that have to be used possibly daily or weekly. I mean, it's not storage that we're not gonna use. So we have, the reason he's got to build it the way he's gotta build it is because district clerk, county clerk, DA
HR, treasurer.
have
managing
records to store. Well, I don't know how accessible everybody's have to be, but anything from 1950 prior, we can't get rid of. And I know county clerk more than us, they use it all the time. We have to go back to it too. So I just want everybody to realize that it's gotta be, it can't just be boxes stored on top of each other. And I mean, it's gotta be stored where we can get to them. and correct me if I'm wrong, Al, I mean, that's what's caused
Absolutely.
to go up so is it's gotta be able, we gotta be able to go in there and get to them as often as we need to.
And we plan on using high-density files. Instead of buying high-density files, we have high-density files that were not, they're in the new Justice Center. They have high-density files. It was already in there. So that leaves us with high-density files here and high-density files at the Road and Bridge Annex. And we plan on moving them into their storage units in the maintenance storage building. No, the
I
maintenance,
just wanted that.
the maintenance side of that is smaller than it originally was. And that's due to the way I have to draw it.
And I made the comment earlier on that having that storage facility out the back door of the Justice Center is going to be far more convenient for all the offices that have stored records over there.
Exactly, but, I mean, we were told that our stuff has to come out of this building here. So if we're gonna wait to build that building, I mean, at what point does our stuff, because what's here is all the room I have in this new building. So all my stuff that's stored down there, as well as hers, and we gotta do something with it. Are we gonna have to do something with it in 6 months or 30
No, I wasn't
days?
talking about waiting for that, I was talking about waiting for this.
The annex.
I had heard wait for that too, but,
No.
okay, just,
I wanted that complete.
you didn't want it.
Commissioner
You said
Cox.
P-Gal wasn't doing it and we were doing it, so I was,
Commissioner Cox, you asked, can we talk anything that pertains to what, the Justice Center and the facilities? It's on the table.
Yeah, so we're here to talk about the road. So I have some observations. I've had questions posed to me. And I'd like to see if we can't get some of the answers to them. I guess the first one is, TxDOT indicated that we would need a turn lane, striping, and to widen Highway 90. When are they going to do that?
I can't tell you when they're going to do that, but I can tell you that they said that they would take care of it.
Okay, would we open the road before that's done?
I would think we would.
Would that pose a safety risk by opening the road if they made the recommendations that we need to do that before we open the road?
I can't answer for TxDOT, but I would believe that if they said they need to do their work before we open the road, then I think we would probably need to adhere to that. Harry, can you address that? Or do you have a feel for that?
Part of this process, TxDOT still has to issue a permit for that connection. When they issue that permit, they're saying that connection, in their view, meets their standards and is safe. Yeah, it's not ideal to wait to have the turn lanes and things put in, but in TxDOT's viewpoint, they're not gonna issue the permit for the tie-in unless they believe that intersection will be safe.
Okay. So let me ask you this, on getting the permit issued, at what point do we go to TxDOT? If we said today, we know we're gonna put in at least the 2-lane road from point A to point B. At what point then do we go to TxDOT?
The permit application has already been submitted to TxDOT.
Okay.
By PJL's engineer.
Okay?
To my knowledge, they have not gotten a response yet. Al, do you know?
They haven't got a response yet because we haven't made up our mind whether we're building it or not.
Okay. So once we make up our mind, and we're gonna do that today,
Then I will get on the horn to PGAL and Collier will come back. They'll get their drawings. It'll be a 30 to 60 day, getting ready to go to TxDOT.
Commissioner Cox, does that answer your question there?
When we do that, I worked on 2 of these. I worked on the one that, the new gas pumps that were put in here in Anderson. I also worked on the one in Rones Prairie. Once we got that set up, they set up a meeting with us. We went in with their engineers and their people and find out what we need to do, and they will do that. I'll be glad to call TxDOT and go meet with them when you get that done, Al, and help you set that up, because I work with two of them.
Okay.
Okay.
I've got several.
Go ahead.
If we build the road, there's gonna need to be signage. Where would the signage direct traffic? To the main entrance or to the, I don't know what we're calling it, the second road, back road, alley, I'm not sure. Where would the traffic be directed to?
What would you recommend?
Well, we've got a main entrance.
Okay.
Where is Google gonna recommend when people put it in for Google?
Well, Google right now recommends it to go to Mr. Westmoreland's yard.
You'll get the bill for my asphalt driveway.
Could you get that improved, please?
That's where Google takes it now, Commissioner. I've been dealing with that over the last 6-7 months, trying to, I called Google, and they like, who are you? No, I'm just trying to get it changed so I can get out of the citizen's yard.
Okay. So one of the questions that was posed to me is, if we're gonna designate this a county road, why isn't the road and bridge department constructing it to county road standards?
Mr. Walker?
Two things. You did designate it as a county road when you accepted the dedication of that right of way.
Mhm.
That was in the minutes at that time.
Right.
We keep muddling around in that. That's been done. It's not being designed by Road and Bridge. It's being designed as a part of the Justice Center project by their engineers, with the idea that their contractor would build it. If y'all choose not to do it that way, we go out, we can have it designed and constructed, through Road and Bridge, but, thinking has been it'd be more efficient where you've got an engineer and contractor on site to have it done that way.
And Road and Bridge is really not equipped to really
Oh,
build a brand
we
new
don't build
road
concrete
version of
roads.
roads. Well,
We would have to go out for a contractor.
I know,
to bid
that's
out.
another question that I've been asked. Please direct me to another concrete county road in the county.
There are a number of them, we don't.
I don't know
build
where
them.
they're
The little extension of Hill Street here that Dollar General just put in. Scenic View, what's the subdivision out there in 90?
Reagan Estates. Is that what you're talking,
Estates,
Reagan Estates?
Horseshoe Acres, we have a number of subdivisions, developments that have concrete roads, but they were all put in by developers using their own contractors. We're not set up to do that. And we can go out for bids and build it as a concrete road through Road and Bridge if that's what y'all choose to do. That's not a problem, but we're not gonna build it in-house just like Al isn't gonna hang the sheetrock himself.
Okay. So, even if we put the road in, what happens if you're turning left off 149 into the main entrance or off Highway 90 prior to TxDOT's improvements?
Sorry, say that again?
149 is two ways.
149's already had the permit. So, TxDOT has already approved that.
But we're talking about safety and traffic control.
Right, so when they approved the permit for 149, that's saying they're okay, we don't need anything. It's safe, it's safe in their opinion.
So you don't anticipate, based on TxDOT, that if somebody's coming down 149 at the peak hour, wanting to turn left into the facility, that it's not gonna cause any problems?
I'm just telling you, TxDOT has already passed on 149.
I'd like to answer, or put my 2 cents in. Commissioner, it's not gonna be any more of an issue than somebody that's on 90 wanting to turn left onto 149. It would be no different, just another block up, they're gonna turn left onto the county road to go to the Justice Center.
Okay, and so the follow-up question is that, to that is, why is Grimes County trying to solve a state problem? That's a state issue. Highway 1, FM 149 and Highway 90, those are state roads that are creating a problem with not only our facilities, but others. And we, Grimes County, are trying to mitigate or solve that problem by building a road that, if you really look at it and think about it, it's probably not going to solve any problems. It may actually make it worse. The next thing that I've heard, safety and traffic control, and I was asked this question. Are we designating the main entrance to our facility as unsafe or unusable during certain times of the day? And it appears as though we are. So the follow-up to that, what somebody said, so we've situated a $10.5 million building in such a manner that creates an unsafe situation and employees can't get to work on time. That's a statement. I was also...
Do you concur with that statement?
No.
Okay.
If the amount of traffic is to the level that we need an extra road behind it, behind the building, I was asked, why are we paying the salaries of a traffic officer, the sheriff's department, or an SRO for directing traffic?
Would you repeat that one again?
If traffic is a problem on 149 due to school or other issues, why are we spending money to build a road in the back of the facility when we're paying for a traffic officer, sheriff's deputies, and SRO officers? Couldn't they be out there directing traffic?
Well, they do on the school zones.
Okay, does it help?
Protects the kids
Okay.
and the people dropping kids off at the school.
Is the road necessary then for safety? I mean, I don't, just...
I believe the road should be the main entrance because of the congestion everywhere else. In the initial design, it wasn't available, we didn't really know about it. Mr. Husfeld went to Mr. Westmoreland and thought about that idea. I was of the opinion at the time that we, if we could get that, there's no need for a drive on 149. But it was still up in the air whether we were going to be able to get that or do that. So we went ahead and went with that in the design of 149 to have that. But I always feel that it would be safer to pull off Highway 90.
So are we going to designate 90 as the main entrance?
I would. I mean, the most traffic is going to be coming down 90. So I think if we put signage on there that Justice Center, turn down there instead of turn down 149.
I'd keep them off 149, that'd reduce that congestion.
Yeah.
People that would be coming from 149, can come in and turn, but,
Okay. And then one of the questions I was asked is, why do we need lights? We're closed at night. That's fairly. And then personal observation.
Well, you're asking questions, so, one of the reasons we have lights is because just like on this annex, we put lights all around this building to add to security. We have the courthouse lit up for security because when we get to the wintertime, where it's kind of lights on around 5:15, at least by 5:30, and not everybody that works for the county goes home at 4:30 or 4 or whatever.
Yeah, right. Well, I don't think we have this many lights down the main, what used to be, or what is the main entrance.
With the main entrance, how many lights do we have programmed for that?
6.
6? If you put lights on the new extension, how many is that? 12. Okay, so you could cut the number of lights, have them spaced further apart, could you not?
Yes, you can. You can on 149, them have been bought for 149.
Okay.
And then just a couple of personal, well, one more issue that was presented to me is why are we building this road when the construction costs are the highest? Same thing with the storage building.
Well, I think the answer to that is it's not going to get cheaper.
It's going up every day.
A little bit of personal observation. I worked in downtown Anderson for 14 years until they moved my office to Navasota. I was never late for school, for work due to school traffic, and I had 3 employees with children that went to Anderson schools, and they were never late to work, to my recollection, for any type of school traffic. It's just some personal observation there. I understand there's probably an increase. There's probably more people that have moved into this area, but I've taken a random sample of some of the people that live around here, and some of them say they have a little bit of a wait due to the traffic, and that's certainly understandable. Some of them say they don't have any wait at all. And one of the questions that was posed to me is if we build this road because of school safety concerns, and it impedes the ability of citizens and employees to get to work, why don't we change the hours of operation for the county to not be the same or in similar time frame as that of the school? So that's those. I appreciate the comments during public comment section, but there's also other people that have posed questions to me. I'm sure they would have probably been here if they would have known there was going to be a lot of interest in this to express their concerns and ask these questions themselves, but here I am asking them, and they're for the court's consideration.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? So, Mr. Peter, you stand before us needing a decision on 022, 022 R1, or 022 R2, or nothing at all. Is that correct?
Correct.
I move to approve project modification proposal 1909-022 R2.
Second.
22 R2.
22 R2.
Okay.
So that's one for 334, 443. Let me get back to my page. Your motion, Commissioner Mallett, was on 022 R2?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Dobianski, you seconded that?
Yes.
There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 12, specifically the 1909-022 R2 by Commissioner Mallett, seconded by Commissioner Dobianski. Is there further discussion?
Yes, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I just refresh my memory which one that is. I'm having difficulty.
It's the one for 334,000.
I just need that back.
Okay.
It's
It's
the one
the
for
minimum.
what?
It's the one for 334,000,
334.
443. Yeah.
No conduit, no light.
That's the one you proposed?
Yes.
I thought you said 22.
He did
22
R2.
R2.
R2. Okay.
Do you have another comment, Commissioner?
I do, just take note that that extends the contract 100 days.
Okay.
And my concern is still financially, I would like to see us complete the projects that we set out to complete when we first talked about this project, including the renovation of this building and the cost of the road. The increase concerns me because when it was first projected, it was one cost and we've greatly exceeded that amount. So that is still a concern to me.
A lot of that was due after the geotech report with the soil conditions. A lot of that was due to the geotech report with the soil conditions. Almost doubled, I think, didn't it, Harry, on the lime stabilization? Double the depth.
No, yes, that too, but also the cost of the road, period.
Well, that's because of the cost. That's what was a big part of the cost of the road. Was that lime stabilization.
So that's an added cost to the 335 is the additional 25,000?
Yeah, from the, I guess, 295.
From 295 to 335, so what we're actually looking at is 360.
No.
No.
The
334.
cost from 295 to 334, yeah, I'm not sure.
334.
334 is due to volatile market and poor soil when we did the geotech.
So they have to stabilize the soil by adding more lime to it, and that's an increase of material cost.
And a greater depth.
And a greater depth.
Okay, still same concerns financially.
Sure. Okay.
I have some financial concerns as well, we just keep adding to it. But if by doing this, our anticipated completion date, if I recall just a minute ago, was in June. This moves it potentially, barring any other, potentially into the next fiscal year for completion.
That's not correct.
100 days from June.
Why is that going to be 100 days?
This was
That's what
discussed,
the-
and it's not necessary to the building itself as far.
Yeah, there's
It's not
not,
part of the building.
I believe from that discussion, I believe it's 100 days to the contract, but it's not, they're not gonna let that affect the building, is what Collier said, in one of our construction meetings.
And you still have two interim entrances, the sheriff's entrance and the main entrance off of, or the currently fixed entrance off of 149.
Does the contract state that the road that entrance has to be completed by the time the building's completed?
No, just substantially close.
Does this 100 days bring us past the maturity date of the contract with Mr. Westmoreland?
I don't know, let me refer to John C. John C.
You're looking for $300,000, I don't have it.
No, Commissioner Cox has a question for you.
Okay. If this modification proposal is approved, one of the issues is that the contract time will be extended for 100 days. Is that going to take us past the maturity date of the contract that we have or agreement that we have with Mr. Westmore?
I can just read the provision, I'll just read it out so we're all on the same page. Within 12 months hereof, plus any reasonable delays attributable to weather or the like, Grimes County, Texas will begin construction of a public road from State Highway 90 across the tract received from Westmoreland to provide the public ingress and egress to the new county facility. The road will be designated as a public road to be maintained by Grimes County, Texas should, this is the provision that you're asking about, should Grimes County, Texas fail to achieve substantial completion of the road either before or contemporaneously with the completion of the new county facility, the ownership of the tracts conveyed as a result of this agreement shall revert to the respective conveying parties. Substantial completion as used herein shall mean construction of the road sufficient to permit the use thereof by members of the public for access to the new county facility.
So what's the answer?
So the road has to be completed either before or contemporaneously with the construction of the new county facility. So no matter what the extension date means to the road issue, if the facility is done before the road, then that's violative of that provision.
So Mr. Westmoreland's in the audience. Mr. Westmoreland, do you have a thought on that?
Yes, sir, I think that the delay to the building construction, which is approved weather delays, I'm not aware of any other approved delays. When that building's finished, it should be by the end of the time frame you had in your contract with the contractor, plus any approved weather delays. And that would be the date that I think our agreement is effective, either terminate the agreement and give my land back to me, or build a road before then.
So
Same time the building's complete, I expect the road to be complete, or substantially complete.
Okay.
So we can't do that.
We've only had 5 years to figure it out since the county first started talking to me about it.
Yes, sir, I
But
understand.
I see why.
There's a motion before the court on agenda item, are there further comments? There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 12 by Commissioner Mallett, seconded by Commissioner Dobianski. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Oppose?
Nay.
Look, we'll take a individual Commissioner Mallett, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dobianski, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Walker, how do you vote?
Nay.
Commissioner Cox, how do you vote?
Nay.
And County Judge votes yea. So the vote's 3-2 for 22R2. Agenda item number 13.
Wait a minute.
What?
So, my question is 1909, 23, and 24, are we not considering those?
Are they, okay, go ahead.
23 is light poles? No.
No, no.
And 24 is fiber conduit and box?
No, I'll take care of that with Rescue America.
Okay.
Does that answer all your needs?
Yes, sir.
Now, you're still up for agenda item number 13. This is Grimes County Historical Commission Chairman Al Peeler.
You have in your package the Grimes County Historical Commission bylaws. And all this is we're doing some housekeeping for THC. CHC keeps me under regulations. There are not a lot. It has been sent to John C. 3 times. And we got a clear vote, unanimous vote by the Historical Commission. So it is, I have to bring it to Commissioners Court for you to review and sign as our bylaws. It's housekeeping is really all it is.
And again, Mr. Foltz looked
3
over
times.
and had any, okay.
I have one question on it.
Yes, sir.
Last page, number 5, second paragraph, you indicate 4 members would constitute a quorum.
Yes, sir.
You sure that you don't want to make that odd? Because you're voting on business issues, is what it said.
Right, so that was the same question I had. I called THC. I'm like the judge. I'm a tiebreaker. So the quorum, is without me.
Are you saying you and I are similar?
No, sir. I have a longer beard. that's all that is, if that answers.
Yes, I just,
I'll make a motion to approve the revised bylaws from the Grimes County Historical Commission.
Second.
And if I could get you all to sign that, so I
I've got
can
it
get
right
it
here.
to THC.
There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 13 by by County Judge Joe Powell, seconded by Commissioner David Dobianski. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'll start the signature on this now. Agenda item number 14, Grimes County Human Resources Director Talita Coleman. Consider and take action to approve Grimes County's participation in the 2021 Annual Survey of Public Employment and Payroll. See attachment number 14.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioner. So on your attachment, I received this letter in the mail and was addressed to the previous HR director. So I'm not sure if this is something that she got on a yearly basis or not, but since it is pertaining to our county employees and payroll information, and it is a volunteer program, we flip over on the back of the page under their authority and confidentiality, it states that they're requesting our voluntary assistance. So I wanted to leave it up to the court to decide if you all wanted us to participate in this survey or not. It says it can take up to about an hour and a half or so to complete the survey. And it has to be completed by April 27th.
Do you recognize any benefit to us for participating in this?
The only thing I can get out is just, maybe it's like a public,
Salary
census,
survey?
kind of like what they do with the general population census. So it's,
And it's probably like we talked about in the meeting last week with the census representative, so that we can refer to,
Right.
instead of having to do the market analysis, basically like we did before, this information would be readily available.
and it does state, it says this information collected serves as an inaugural part of the foundation developing national economic and public policies. So it's up to the court. I'm willing to do it if the court wants to direct me to do it. I just figured that it needs to have your blessing and not something that I took in consideration on my own.
will these be individual or is this as a whole?
I'm not sure because I haven't logged into the system yet to see how it even goes. But
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's gonna be based off, I would think that it would be based off the county as a whole. Most of the reports that are required for me to submit is the county as a whole, not individual.
I would not oppose it if it was as a whole, but I think getting into individual things, they're already reported to the IRS.
Correct. That's why I said it's a volunteer basis.
And I've
So we're
never
not
seen
required
this
to do it.
before. I mean, it's never been presented to Commissioners Court.
Not that I'm aware of.
Annual survey of public employment and payroll. Check factors such as government size, complexity, and activity.
Yeah, it's saying estimated it could take 10 to 90 minutes.
If there's no further questions, then I would like to make the motion that we approve participation, Grimes County's participation in the 2021 Annual Survey of Public Employment and Payroll.
Is there a second? I'll make a second with the caveat that once you log in and you participate in the survey, if you're comfortable with the questions that they've asked you, then go ahead and hit submit. And if you're not, delete it and just report back to the court that you made the decision not to participate.
And one of the decisions based on that would be if it's asking individual
I think so.
information, correct?
I think so.
Okay, I can do that.
Is that agreeable, Commissioner Walker, to your
Yes.
motion?
Yes, it is.
Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am. Item 15 is yours. Discuss and take action on Grimes County COVID-19 leave policy number 15. You haven't resolved that yet?
Hopefully, we're gonna do that right now.
Okay.
So the attachment that you have did go through John C's office and received his blessing. I did make one addition to it, which was approved via email by his assistant, and that was highlighted in yellow. It might not be in yellow in y'all's, but it's down at the bottom where it says employees may return to work as recommended by the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention. That was at the request of the court because that changes periodically on when they say people can return back to work. But the rest of it is what we have discussed in the past, and so I'm asking now for the court to go ahead and approve that.
I move to approve the Grimes County COVID-19 leave policy as presented.
Second.
There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 15 by Commissioner Mallett, seconded by Commissioner Dobianski. Is there any further discussion?
Can I get one clarification, the effective date? We're gonna make it effective today, 1st of May. Today's date?
Tell you what, why don't you make it, well, if we're gonna approve it today, make it effective today, and then how are you gonna broadcast that information?
I'll send it out via email and take it to department heads to have it into their policy manual. It's gonna go into section B under the policy of sick leave, which is on page 82 of the personnel manual. We're just gonna add a second column, it'll be section 5, letter F, and it'll say COVID-19 leave policy.
So I do have one question. At what point, I know we've talked about it, but just refresh my memory, please. But there was some discussion about when do we move away from having a COVID-19 policy and go back to our regular sick policy? I mean, is there any indication out there on the horizon?
I thought we discussed maybe bringing it back up in May. Is that what we talked about, maybe? I know
We said we were gonna let some of the vaccines and all that kind of take place, and I think we were gonna revisit
To
it.
my knowledge, they've opened up the vaccine now where it's
18 and above.
to everybody that is 18 and above. So my suggestion is we just let it play out this year, and then we'll see how it goes. How many cases do we get? How many exposures do we get with the county? That's why they need to continue to notify me after they notify their supervisors, so I'm aware of who's going on any type of the COVID leave, so I can better track that information.
And don't we start doing our sick leave and our vacation, everything from October 1? Or do we do it from January 1?
October, it should be October.
When people accumulate vacation time?
October.
Okay.
Yeah, so this means anybody who has previously had COVID time, if they've already reached their 80-hour capacity, then they would, by this policy, they would have to start using their personal time, starting sick first. Anybody who comes down with it now, who hasn't used any COVID time, would be allowed the 10 days or maximum 80 hours if they're full-time. Part-time hours would be designated however many part-time hours is for that position.
And then they start using sick
And then
time.
they'll start
and
using
they'll-
Your question was, when do they start accruing? Is that what your question was a minute ago? They accrue when they start. I
Well,
mean,
I know, but I mean, when do we clean the record? Do the sick days and everything carry over for
Everything
everybody?
carries over for,
to a certain point.
yeah, depending on how many years of service you're here, it's 120 to 160, and I think it's 460 hours of sick leave that people can carry over. They'll continue to accumulate up until those cutoff times.
Gotcha.
The carryover starts October 1.
No, it
No, it
doesn't.
just
Calendar
carries
year.
over.
It's just,
year.
it just continues to roll over.
Yeah.
So once an employee reaches the max, whether it's the 120 for vacation, 160, or the 460 for sick, they stop accruing until they've used some of that time. And then once they get it down below that max number, they'll begin accruing again.
All right. There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 15 by Commissioner Mallett, seconded by Commissioner Dobianski. Is there further discussion? And hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 16. Thank you. We have decided to table this item, and the county judge and the county clerk and the county auditor, whether she knows it or not, would like to have a meeting, and the three of us discuss before we bring it back to court.
And I'd like to include IT with that too.
Say that again?
Can we include IT
Oh,
in
sure.
that meeting?
Yeah. Sheree, would you put that together for us? Auditor, county clerk, county judge, IT director. Anybody else want to come?
Can you tell me who made on the sick policy, the motion?
Commissioner Mallett made the motion, Commissioner Dobianski seconded it, and it was a 5-0 vote. So we're tabling number 16. Number 17, consider and take action to authorize road and bridge to go out for bids on asphalt and emulsions contract. How exciting, Mr. Walker?
This is exciting stuff, yes, sir. This is one of our annual contracts. We bid it out of sequence with the others because of the timing of our paving season. It doesn't make much sense to take bids in October for work that's not gonna happen until May or June. So this is just a routine item. It's just on a different calendar than all our other annual contracts.
And I make the motion that we authorize road and bridge to go out for bids on asphalt and emulsions contract.
Second.
I'm sorry, who was that? Was it you, David?
Yes.
There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 17 by Commissioner Walker, seconded by Commissioner Dobianski. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Agenda item 18, consideration and possible adoption of an updated federal procurement policy, attachment number 18.
This is a repeat of the item, as you'll recall, in the closeout review of our 2015 GLO grant. The GLO's called an audit team, that's not their official title, but in reviewing the procedures that we used, they criticized us because the grant we procured in 2017 did not follow the rules that the federal government adopted in 2018. We presented a revised procurement policy to address that question to you previously, which y'all approved. We submitted it to the GLO. They had some more issues with it. This is the second revision of that policy. This time GLO has said it is acceptable, so we're asking you to go ahead and adopt it. At this point in time, it does not affect the 2015 grant that it's related to. This would affect future grant procurement, not what's happened in the past. But they just want to make sure we're in the right place for the next time we go after the grant, even though the rules may well change again later. It's just one of those things we got to do.
Yeah. That's
You
right.
want to explain it better?
You said it perfectly well.
I move to adopt the updated federal procurement policy.
Second.
There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 18 by Commissioner Mallett, seconded by Commissioner Dobianski. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Item 19, agenda item number 19, consideration and possible acceptance of a road construction bond for the Hayman subdivision. See attachment number 19.
If you recall, when we approved the Hayman subdivision plat, it was made contingent on the approval of their construction security bond. We did not have that bond at that time. Now we have the bond. It has been reviewed by the county attorney's office, and we're recommending that it be approved. It is in the amount of $171,820. We'll cover the construction phase of the project, and then once their construction has been accepted, they'll come back and reduce the bond amount to the 20% for our maintenance period.
I move to accept the road construction bond for the Hyman subdivision.
Second.
There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 19 by Commissioner Mallett, seconded by Commissioner Walker. Harry, remind me, what precinct is that in?
This is precinct
It's 1? Okay. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Turning the page. Agenda item number 20, consideration and possible approval of a resolution authorizing the county judge to execute an agreement with TxDOT for a county transportation infrastructure fund. See attachment number 20.
Some time ago, we were notified by TxDOT that we were being given another CIP OZ grant in the amount of $197,011. This is the County Infrastructure Transportation Reinvestment Zone grant, basically related to the oil field roads, and it's a way for the state to help offset some of the damages caused to county roads by the activity of oil field construction. Part of their procedures requires a resolution from the court accepting that grant, and that's what's before you today.
Do we have to recreate the zone? Do we have to recreate the zone, the investment zone?
No, they do not require that this time. They relaxed the procedures we went through in the past to make it a little bit more user-friendly. There doesn't have to be a designated zone, and they don't even require that you demonstrate that the roads are actually being impacted by oil field traffic.
Is this primarily the same amount of money we got before?
It's a similar amount. I think last time it was about $179,000.
It's a little bit more.
Hopefully with inflation. It rose. Then I'd like to make the motion that we approve the resolution authorizing the county judge to execute an agreement with TxDOT for a county transportation infrastructure fund.
Second.
There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 20 by Commissioner Walker, second by Commissioner Dobianski. Is there any further discussion? And hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 21. Consider and take action to accept deed from Navasota ISD conveying the Stoneham Community Center property to Grimes County. See attachment 21.
This is another matter that we've discussed previously. The Stoneham Community Center property is adjacent to the Stoneham barn site. The property is no longer used. The barn site and the dump site, they're wrapped around the property. So we decided to request, belongs to the Navasota School District, they weren't using it. We requested that they grant it to the county, and they have agreed to do that. The document conveying the property was prepared by Mr. Foltz's office, and he was successful in getting the school board to approve it. Now we need to authorize our counter-signature of that. The community center property is about 3/4 of an acre. It is restricted to governmental use, so it's not something we're going to go sell off or anything, but it will allow some of the other changes in the property usage at that location to work out a little bit better. Currently, we don't actually have any kind of access easement for access to the dump site that crosses it. It also facilitates the sale of the barn property itself by allowing us to clean up some of that frontage. We'll recommend that y'all accept the deed, approve the deed.
And it does contain a revisionary interest should the property not be used. According to the deed. If we cease from using it longer than 12 months, is that correct?
They stepped out.
John?
John's right there. John.
Hi.
Where have y'all been?
Where have you been? This does have a reversionary interest in the deed from
It
NISD.
does. But it's pretty broad, just used as for public purpose.
Just use for public
One of
purpose.
the conditions that the school wanted in there is that we wouldn't take it and then not use it for a public purpose. Makes sense.
And for it, not longer than 12 consecutive months.
I'm sure, I'm told Harry's gonna put it to good use as soon as you guys have a few extra dollars for him to use.
He's got lots of money in his budget.
And if there's no other questions to be asked, then I ask that we accept the deed from NISD conveying the Stoneham Community Center property to Grimes County.
Second.
There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 21 by Commissioner Walker, seconded by Commissioner Dobianski. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Agenda item 22, consideration and possible approval of revisions to the surfacing donation policy, CR attachment number 22.
We are currently working with a group of landowners on County Road 185 for surfacing donations for paving on a portion of that roadway. In the course of that discussion, it came to light that our policy actually states that the funds the landowners are paying the county for paving of that road should be deposited in an escrow account. Talking to the auditor's office and the treasurer's office, it was determined that we have not actually been doing that in the past. We're just keeping it in a separate account. So we felt like it's probably appropriate to change the policy to reflect what we're actually doing. So what I have proposed is just change the wording in those different provisions, where it says the fund should be secured in escrow to Grimes County, just to say they should be deposited with Grimes County. And then also on item 5, where it talks about minimal variances to road width or length may be approved by Commissioners Court. Change that to reflect that the minimal variances be approved by the road and bridge engineer.
What would be your definition of minimal?
The policy calls for a half mile. If the road actually is longer than that, there's some provisions in there, but I don't see that there's a strong reason that if somebody comes in and we don't have 2,500 feet of road, we only got 2,300 feet, but they have the money and everything else is correct, then we shouldn't be able to go ahead and do the project. If it calls for a half mile and they want to do a quarter mile, then no, we wouldn't do that. But it's, again, the area where it's a judgment call. The other part of the issue is the width. We say you have to have 60 feet of right of way. If there's 50 feet in one place and everything else is 60 and it's sufficient for the work we need to do, I would go ahead and proceed with the project under my judgment.
I got a question for you, Harry. Sorry, Mr. Walker. If somebody wants to donate money to repave an existing paved road, where does that fall in
The
this?
policy is for paving unpaved roads.
Okay.
That's the intention of it.
There's no other questions. I move that we approve the revisions to the surfacing donation policy.
Second.
There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 22 by Commissioner Cox, seconded by Commissioner Mallett. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Agenda item number 23, consideration of possible approval of a letter of credit of the Muir Wood subdivision road security.
Judge, I'm gonna ask that y'all table this item. We are still going back and forth with the developer on the terms of their letter of credit. It's not ready to be accepted yet. We'll bring it back to you at a future date.
All right, sir. No issue with the 30-day deadline for approval or not approval? Okay.
The plat approval is already in place.
Right.
We're kind of getting into a gray area where the road construction and the plat approval don't necessarily sync up. But I'll let someone else be the one that wants to go take that one to court.
Okay, fair enough. Agenda item 24, consideration and approval of 2 variance requests by Patricia Best related to a possible replat of property in Mill Creek Estates 24. We've seen that before.
Yes, and I tabled that because I wanted to touch base with the environmental and the county attorney. After talking to them, they have approved a septic system for that. So the county attorney said that we should go ahead and do that. But I wanted to check with them before we move forward with that. So I move that we approve the 2 variance requests by Patricia Best related to the possible replat of the property in Mill Creek Estates.
Second.
Yes, sir.
We could have some discussion before y'all act on that.
Well, you get right there. There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 24 by Commissioner Dobianski, seconded by Commissioner Mallett. Is there any discussion? Mr. Walker?
There are 2 variance requests in this letter. One is to allow a variance to the acreage requirement for a septic system with public water. And that I believe is what the commissioner talked to environmental about. And it's my understanding that they have been defaulting to the septic, the installer can design it to meet TC group requirements. Then the acreage provision is not necessarily the controlling issue. The second variance, though, is requesting that they be exempted from submitting a plat for this, for division of this property. That is, state law requires that. We cannot grant them a variance to that. I strongly recommend you don't attempt to do that. I would ask that the motion be rephrased to grant a variance to the acreage requirement, but not to the platting requirement.
I'll amend the motion to that effect.
I still second.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Walker. Agenda item number 25, consider and take action regarding the burn ban and authorize the county judge as signatory. I'm going to suggest no action, although we just still need our citizens to be aware and pay attention. Agreed?
Agreed.
Okay. Agenda item 26, receive any updates on the strategic plan? I have none. Anybody?
I just want to remind the fundraiser for the Grimes County Animal Rescue May the 1st. Let's get that word out and get this animal shelter built.
Very good. And that, again, that's at the fairgrounds.
Yes.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 27 by Commissioner Dobianski, seconded by Commissioner Walker. Is there further discussion? And hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Time is 11:19.